Good afternoon, evening, whenever you watch this. Hello. I'm sorry it's been so long, like a whole month. The last update that I gave you was just sharing with you about Beulah and how excited I was to have her. Unfortunately, I do have some bad news for those who have grown to love Beulah as I did. Beulah had to go. Beulah, I took her to a long-term care facility, and I dropped her off and I left her. But I'll share with you more. Stay tuned. So I got Beulah on October 22nd, and not even 2 weeks, I had to register her and everything. I got insurance for her. I was so excited. But there was a problem. You see, when I went to register her, they said that I needed to get a smogs test or emissions test. And so I was like, okay. Mind you, I called out of work on this Tuesday. This was November 3rd. Let me tell y'all the date so you understand God's timing. So I called out of work on November 3rd to take care of everything for the car, and they wouldn't let me complete the registration. They gave me an incomplete registration thing so that I could go and get the emissions and then finish it up whenever it was done. And so I'm like calling around. This is my day off. So I'm like, listen, this has to be done today because I only have Sundays and Saturdays off and nowhere is open on the weekend. So let me just do it today. And so I'm like, the emissions is going to get done today. The check engine light was on though. And so you can't really pass a smog test with the check engine light on. And so I was like, can you fix my car so that I can pass a smog test? And then, today. And they're like, no, we have to diagnose a car and all these things. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And my dad's a mechanic, So I was like, Daddy, well, I'm trying to do it, but it's just crazy. And so he said to me, all right, let's do this. We're gonna go and we're gonna clear the light for the check engine light. So I went to O'Reilly's, got the little diagnostic machine, diagnose a car myself. I'm like, boom, 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 got all these codes and was checking my spark plugs and all of these things, and I cleared it. I did. And then I went back to the mechanic and I was like, let's do the emissions test. And they're like, are you crazy? I know the light was on, and that's illegal, and it's going to fail again. It's going to fail anyway, because your car needs to have a certain amount of memory. It's a lot of technical terms that I can't translate right now. But I understood, but I was just really upset because the mechanic even told me, you're wasting your time driving this thing. And I was like, you can't say that. This is a gift. This is my Beulah. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And so I left crying, but I held the tears until I got in the car, okay? And I drove off, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. The next day, though, I talked to another mechanic, and it was right down the street from my work. And so he was able to diagnose a car for me, and he was like, sorry, I gotta tell you, but the head gasket's blown. Beulah's terminal. She is going to go. She's going to die. And so I called my dad. And I was like, Daddy, well, he had me read the codes that the mechanic printed out, and I read them to him, and he was like, yeah, that's terminal. Your car is going to leave you on the side of the road at any minute, any day. And I was like, but Lord, this was such a blessing, because she was so little. My insurance cost so little. Registration fees cost so little. It was such a big financial blessing, It's okay. Beulah didn't have heat. And Beulah didn't have other things, but I was content. When I tell you content, I was content. I loved Beulah. And so I was really upset and disappointed and sad. She was leaking antifreeze, and so I would pour water in the radiator area. Yeah, there. So that the car wouldn't overheat on me. And so it was a journey Beulah and I went through. But through this whole time, though, I was hustling because I knew that Beulah had to go, and I had to accept it. No, it's time to accept your losses and just keep pushing. And so I was like, what am I gonna do? Guys, I know my videos can be kind of long, and so maybe I will chop them up so to keep your interest. But this is a really good story, so stay tuned. Okay, all right, back from the commercial break. And so, I was visiting dealers. I asked my friend, I was like, how much do you think is a good budget? Because like my goals are to get out of debt and I don't want a car note. What am I going to do? And she gave me like a pretty decent number and was like, oh yeah, you can go for a used car for $13,000 or something like that. So I called my dad and I was like, Daddy, I'm going to get a used car for $13,000. That's my plan. And he's like, Ayana, if you're gonna spend that much money, please just get a new car. And I was like, but Daddy, I don't want a car note. I want all these things. Like I could be stubborn sometimes. And he said, Ayana, you're in a far country by yourself. California, not a country, whatever. You're really far. And I've been trying to like guide you down the road of Hyundais because they have good warranties and if anything happens, you'll be safe and you don't have to be worrying about getting to work or calling out again and all of those things. And he made some valid points. And so I said, okay. And so he said, get the cheapest model. You get the Hyundai Accent. And he sent me like a dealership and a whatever. And I was like, I already test drove that car. I kind of really don't like it, but you know, whatever. And so I have been talking to God this whole time about the car situation. I was like, God, do I really get a new car? Like, you know, are you sure? I don't want to misuse your funds. And I'm telling you, like, the Bible speaks. And I started reading, like, some texts. And he told me he wanted me to be at peace, you know? And I was just so grateful for his encouragement. And I was excited. And I was like, I'm going to buy a new car. Yes. So Saturday night, this was now November 7th, right? Well, the whole Sabbath, like, you know, God is very practical. He knows what's on our minds. And so I've been talking to him about my worries and everything. And so I was just talking to him and he was like, girl, you're going to get this car. It's going to be my gift to you. And we went through the Bible and we named it Beulah, Carmela, Hephzibah. And I got really excited. I'm talking about dancing on the beach, like running up and down and all those things. Like I was so excited. And then Beulah, Carmela, Hephzibah II was what we named the car that I don't have, or that I didn't have. Oops, spoiler alert. Anywho, so I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna get this car tonight. When the sun sets, I'm gonna get the car tonight. And so I I was ready, and I went to the dealership, and I was like, hello, like, you know, do you have the car? I want the blue one. And they're like, well, we only have the red one. And I was like, okay. And honestly, this wasn't even the Hyundai Accent. This was the Hyundai Elantra of the Value Edition 2020, you know? And so I was like, you know I was supposed to be looking for the Accent, but I really want the Elantra because that's the one with the sunroof and Apple Play, you know? And from my previous videos, like, that's what your girl wants. And so I was like, God, that's what I want. And so I went and I test drove the car, put on Sirius XM, you know, we was getting ready to do the little trade-in paperwork. On the Sirius XM, I was playing some Christian music. I was bumping. And I was like, this is my car on the test drive. And so get back to the dealership. And you're gonna have to figure out the rest on next time.